Hey y'all, it's Lacey, and today I'm here to do my April wrap up, current reads, what I'm currently reading, and I got a teeny tiny little book haul. It's just 4 books, nothing big, but I figured I'd put it all in one video and just, get it out of the way. So today y'all are getting 3 for 1. Alright, so I'm going to start off with my wrap up. I did 3 audiobooks this month, 2 physical books, and I DNF'd 3 books. So I'll start off with the audiobooks that I did. These are in no particular order. I'm just going to group them in the different types of books. So the first audiobook that I read or listened to was Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. I think most people know what this book is about. It's a Hercule Poirot novel, and it's about a murder that happens on a train, the Orient Express. It's a whole cast of characters, and he has to solve the murder. I have read this book before many, many years ago, and really liked it, and I have a copy of it somewhere. But the audiobook was narrated by Kenneth Branagh, who was really good. He gave every character their own distinct voice. I mean, it was amazing how many different voices he could create for because there's a lot of characters in this book, which is one of the reasons why this isn't my favorite audiobook ever, because there was a lot of people to keep up with. And I remember in my book copy, there's a list of the characters and their descriptions and who they are and how they're related, or stuff like that. So you're able to kind of go back and check in on that if you need to. So in an audiobook, I found myself having a hard time keeping up with who was who. But overall, I mean, it was a good story. But I mean, I did know the ending of it already, but it was still good. The second one that I listened to was My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Fredrik Backman. This was really good. It was really sweet and funny. It follows a little girl named Elsa who is 7 years old. She's recently lost her grandmother. Her grandmother dies, and they have a very close relationship. Her grandmother is her best friend, and they just have a great relationship with each other. And after she passes away, her grandmother has given her this quest to deliver letters to people that she feels she needs to apologize to for, different reasons. So Elsa's job is to go around and deliver these letters. It was really sweet. It was cute. I would definitely recommend the audiobook if you want to read it. I really enjoyed it. The third one that I listened to was Roomies by Christina Lauren. It was a cute romance. I mean, nothing super special. It was one of those marriage of convenience plots, and if you're looking for something that's like heavy on the steaminess, this really wasn't it. But it was just one of those cute, fluffy romances. All right, the physical books that I read this month were the book Thief by Markus Zusak. This also helps me mark off one of my books on the Great American Read list. And in my last book haul, this was one of the books that I hauled, and most people in the comments talked about how much they loved this book. So I was kind of in a reading slump, and I was like, well, everybody loves this book, so I'm going to pick it up, check it out, see if I like it too. And I really did. I liked it a lot. It was bittersweet and heartbreaking, and just all those things. There were parts of it that were tough to read. It follows a little girl named Liesel, who I think is like 11 when the story starts. She's traveling with her mother and little brother. Her and her brother are being taken to a foster family. And you kind of pick up on why, but it's never like just outright said why. But this is during Nazi Germany, so you can imagine that there were reasons that they were being taken away. So on the trip, her brother dies, and the grave diggers one of them drops a book in the snow, and she picks it up, and that's how she becomes the book thief. And it follows her throughout her young life, and her experiences with different people, and how different books play a part in her life. And of course, this is Nazi Germany, so there are book burnings and very limited access to books. And the perspective that it's told from the narrator is death. So he is kind of like walking through her life and watching her during these times and these experiences. And I almost, like, as I'm reading it, I am picturing it like A Christmas Carol, where Ebenezer Scrooge is with one of the ghosts, and they're walking through all the people and experiencing different events in his life. That's what it reminded me of, like death. Like, we're walking through her life and seeing her and her interactions with her friends and her foster father and her foster mother, and then eventually they take in a Jewish man that they had in their basement, and her friendship with him, and their relationship involving books and things like that. So it was really good. It was, like I said, tough. Some of it was tough to read because, it did mention, it did obviously talked about real events, like I don't remember the exact term for it, but, when they would march the Jews through the streets to the concentration camps and things like that. So yeah, it was really good. I'm glad I read it. The next physical book that I read was Forever by Judy Blume. I didn't like this at all. I did a video about it. It was kind of a ranty video, if you want to check it out. I mean, it's just, it involves a teenage couple and their relationship and their decision to take that relationship to the next step, and then all the little drama that comes with it. So anyway, I'm going to leave that there. All right, now for the 3 books that I DNF'd. The first one that I DNF'd was Killing Kennedy, The End of Camelot by Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard. I had listened to Killing England like a couple weeks ago, a month ago, and I really enjoyed that. But this one, I just I couldn't get into. I thought it was going to be more about the assassination of Kennedy and the conspiracies and the information and the events surrounding that. But it was more about the events of his administration leading up to the assassination, and it just wasn't interesting to me. I also did not care for Bill O'Reilly being the narrator of this book, because the last one that I listened to was narrated by somebody else, but this one was narrated by Bill O'Reilly, and I didn't care for it. And also, the other thing, this is kind of where I really ended listening to this book, was he brought up different events that were happening in the country during Kennedy's administration. And one of the things that he brought up was Emmett Till and his death, or his murder, after being accused of whistling to a white woman, I think maybe in Mississippi. I can't remember exactly. But anyway, I didn't like the way that it was written in the book. And also, I know now, or I've heard now, that the Justice Department reopened that case last year in 2018 due to the woman involved, I don't remember her name, stating in an interview several years ago that she had lied about what happened. So none of that was mentioned in this book, and it could just be because during their research they didn't see this information, because it really wasn't a big part of this book. But that kind of put me off that that wasn't in there, because I know now that things have changed in that case. So that kind of, I was like, I don't want to listen to any more of this book. The next one I DNF'd was Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. This was just boring. I only got like 100 pages into it and nothing was happening. So it was kind of disappointing. I was expecting something like super scary just from what I've heard others talk about, and it wasn't. It was slow. It was, there were times where you would think something was going to happen and things were picking up, and I was like, ooh, that kind of shocks me. But then it would just fizzle on out, and I was like, I don't have time for this. I'm not even going to go into details about what it's about because it wasn't that great. And then the third one that I DNF'd is one of those little booktube darlings that everybody loves, so I'm kind of afraid to mention it, but it was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This is not my jam. Nope. It was so slow. It was so slow. And all the characters just seemed kind of flat to me. There was really no character development, and I'm guessing that, this book really wasn't about character and plot development. It was more about atmosphere. But I think that was just trying to build the atmosphere. It came at the expense of the characters and the plot. Everything was just flat to me. And I was not enjoying it. I didn't like it. I was like, I don't need to know every other page that everything's black and white. I get it. There's a clock and everything's black and white. All the tints are black and white. Everything's in black and white. I don't care. I don't care. Sorry if you like it. I'm sorry. Okay, so those are all the books that I read or listened to in April. What I'm currently reading is, actually, you know what? I'm going to do my book haul first. So now I'm going to do just my little mini book haul. I was having a crappy day not too long ago, and I was like, I'm going to go to the bookstore and buy a book just to make myself feel better. And I was all set to go to the bookstore and pay like full price for a book. Well, then I was watching somebody's video and they mentioned the website Thrift Books, which I had looked at some point, but never really spent a lot of time on. And I was like, oh, I should go check out that. So I went on there and put in a few books that I'd been wanting to get, and they had them, and they were super cheap. So I got like 4 books for the price that I would have paid for like one full price book at like Barnes & Noble. So the 4 books that I got were Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. This is one that I've picked up at Barnes & Noble so many times and just put back down because I was like, oh, I really want to read that, but I'm not going to get it right now. And then I'd go in there again and I'd be like, oh, I really want to read this, but I'm not right now. So I was like, you know what? It's on here. It's cheap. I'm going to get it. The next one that I got was Dean Koontz, Watchers, and this is like one of the really old covers. But this is one that I've been wanting to reread for a long time too. It's one of my favorite Dean Koontz books. The other one that I got was John Jake's North and South. Some people might remember the miniseries from the 80s that had like Patrick Swayze and Jeannie Francis and a bunch of other people in it. It's about 2 families during the Civil War and how I think one of them is from the North and one of them is from the South, and they're different sides during the war. And there's 3 books. It's a trilogy, so there's 3 other books in this trilogy, but I figured I'd just get the one and see how I like it. And then the other one that I got was Swan Song by Robert McCammon. This one is also on the Great American Read list. I had never heard of it before until I saw it on there and looked it up. And it's not really old. I mean, it's from the 80s, but it's kind of a post-apocalyptic story. A lot of people compare it to The Stand by Stephen King. And like, if you like that, you'll like this. So I was like, oh, that's like right up my alley. And it's one of those books that's really hard to find. Like, I think you can order it online through like Barnes and Noble, but the edition is different now. It's kind of like one of those skinnier paperbacks, which I don't like. And, you can't really find it in stores a lot. So I saw it on there. It was like $3. I was like, yes. So I went ahead and got that. And that leads me into my currently reading, which is, I'm currently reading Swan Song. I just started it the other night, so I'm not very far into it, and it is huge. So hopefully, I'll get through it pretty easily. And then I'm still plugging away at Pillars of the Earth. I don't know when I'm going to finish this, probably next year. I just keep finding other things that I want to read, and I keep picking them up first instead of this. It's still good, though. It's not because it's not good. It's just, I think I've just got a little bit of book ADD right now. I don't know. And then I'm also listening to The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Yeah, I think that's his name. And I'm almost done with that. I'm on the last part of that, so I should finish that up tomorrow. And it's pretty good. I'm starting to question a few things in it and wonder where it's going, but so far so good. So anyway, that's it. That's everything I read in April, my little mini book haul, and what I'm currently reading. So hopefully this won't be too long, but anyway, I'll see you next time. Bye.